He destroys not with anger, but with cosmic necessity, not to end life, but to make space for new creation. In the vast pantheon of Hindu gods, one figure stands cloaked in paradox, both serene and terrifying, meditative and wrathful, ascetic and passionate. He is called the Destroyer. But what does that truly mean? This is not the story of a god of rage or vengeance. This is the story of Shiva, the supreme being who annihilates the universe, only so it can be born again. Today, we dive into the heart of Hindu theology, peeling back the layers of symbolism, tantra, and time to understand Shiva's divine purpose, his cosmic dance, and why destruction is sacred. Origins of Shiva. From Vedas to Puranas, Shiva, as a divine archetype, evolved over thousands of years. In the Rig Veda, one of the oldest sacred texts of Hinduism, we don't initially see Shiva by that name. Instead, we find Rudra, a fierce, storm-wielding deity. Rudra was feared and respected, the god of wild places and unpredictable power. He was called the Howler, the terrible, but also the healer, prayed to for protection. From Rudra, the mythological and theological foundation of Shiva was born. Over centuries, especially in the Upanishads and Puranas, Rudra transformed. He was no longer just a destructive force. He became Shiva, meaning the auspicious one. In texts like the Shiva Purana and Linga Purana, Shiva is described as timeless, formless, and beyond the gunas, qualities of matter. He is the source and the dissolution. He is not merely one of the three gods in the Trimurti. He is Brahman itself when seen from the lens of Advaita, non-duality. Who is Shiva, the god beyond duality? Shiva exists in two states: Saguna Shiva, with form, symbols, attributes; Nirguna Shiva, formless, beyond thought, eternal consciousness. In his Saguna form, he is the god with matted hair, a third eye, snakes coiled around his neck, a crescent moon above his brow, and the holy river Ganga flowing from his scalp. He sits in Kailasa, deep in meditation, draped in tiger skin and covered in ash. But none of these are literal. Each symbolizes something deeper. The third eye is insight, divine wisdom that sees beyond illusion. The snake around his neck is time, tamed and worn as an ornament. The Ganga flowing from his head represents purity and consciousness descending into the material world. The ash on his body symbolizes the impermanence of life. Everything ends, everything returns to dust. The trident, Trishula, represents the three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas, balanced perfectly in Shiva. He is married to Parvati, the goddess of love and fertility, yet also becomes the androgynous Ardhanarishvara, half man, half woman, embodying the unity of opposites. Shiva is beyond morality, gender, and form. He is both the destroyer and the ascetic yogi who transcends all desires. The cosmic dance. Shiva as Nataraja. Shiva's most famous symbolic form is Nataraja, Lord of the Dance. In this form, Shiva dances the Ananda Tandava, the dance of bliss, within a ring of fire. One leg raised, another crushing Apasmara, the demon of ignorance. One hand carries a drum, another fire. Another offers blessing, while the last gestures, fear not. This image is cosmic philosophy in motion. The ring of fire is the endless cycle of time, birth, death, and rebirth. The drum creates the sound of creation, the primordial Om. The fire in his left hand is destruction, the dissolution of illusions. The raised foot symbolizes spiritual release, while the demon underfoot is ego and ignorance crushed by divine knowledge. The Nataraja dance is not simply artistic. It is the heartbeat of the universe. The destroyer. What does Shiva destroy? Shiva does not destroy arbitrarily. His destruction is purification. In the Trimurti, the divine trinity of Brahma, creator, Vishnu, preserver, and Shiva, destroyer, each represents a phase of cosmic function. But destruction isn't negative. It's necessary. Death is not the end. It is the prelude to rebirth. He destroys ego, illusion, attachment, false identities, unrighteousness, adharma. Unrighteousness, adharma. Even the universe at the end of each cosmic cycle, Mahapralaya. This is why ascetics, yogis, and mystics worship him, not for wealth or power, but to burn away ignorance. In Tantric texts, Shiva is the void into which the ego dissolves. Kali, his fierce consort, often symbolizes his energy unleashed in pure, unfiltered force. In today's world, Shiva is often misunderstood. He's reduced to pop culture tattoos, or labeled simply as a god of destruction, angry, chaotic, violent. But these are shallow interpretations. Without context, his symbols are stripped of meaning. Without understanding, devotion becomes distortion. The real challenge is, how do we understand a god that transcends time, language, and morality? How do we interpret a deity who meditates for millennia but opens his third eye to destroy the world in a flash? To understand Shiva is to understand the cyclical nature of existence. In Hindu cosmology, the universe is born, Srishti. It is maintained, Sthiti. Then it dissolves, Samhara. And this cycle repeats endlessly across yugas, ages of time. Shiva is present at each phase. As Dakshinamurti, he is the silent guru who teaches through stillness. As Pashupati, he is lord of animals, showing our primal nature. As Bhairava, he becomes terrifying, tearing apart illusion. As Mahadeva, he is the supreme god, the one beyond the many. In temples, Shiva is often worshipped as the linga, not a phallic symbol as often misinterpreted in the West, but a symbol of formless divinity. The linga represents the infinite, Shiva without attributes, the source and sink of all. And in real life, devotees honor him with detachment, meditation, and surrender. Mahashivaratri, the great night of Shiva, is celebrated through fasting, chanting, and staying awake, symbolizing spiritual awakening. The ultimate realization is this: you are Shiva. The Atman, the soul inside you, is not different from Shiva, the divine consciousness. This is the core teaching of Shaivism and Vedanta. The purpose of life is not to worship Shiva as external, but to become him through self-knowledge. This awakening comes not through rituals or dogma, but through dissolving the ego. That's why Shiva sits in deep meditation, eyes closed, not escaping the world but embracing its illusion and transcending it. He reminds us, nothing is permanent, nothing is yours. Let go. Shiva is more than a god. He is a mirror. He reflects your fears and invites you to destroy them. He shows you death so you may understand life. He dances, not to entertain, but to sustain the universe. To walk the path of Shiva is to walk into the unknown with courage, to strip away the false self and emerge reborn, not through fire, but through inner stillness, not through destruction for its own sake, but through a sacred clearing, for something more profound to take root.